They told us it was about public health, about saving lives. But behind the polished speeches and carefully crafted narratives, something far more sinister was taking shape. For over a decade, Bill Gates and his network of unelected technocrats have poured billions into merging men with machine, not through open innovation, but through covert experimentation on the global population. And after 2021, something changed. Quietly, permanently. Now, embalmers, coroners and insiders are sounding the alarm, reporting bizarre unnatural changes in the bodies of the recently deceased. Strange synthetic fibers, magnetic anomalies, and even evidence suggesting embedded microstructures that should not be there. What if the vaccinated aren't just victims of a rushed medical experiment, but unwilling participants in a live global test? What if the human body has already been upgraded without your permission? It may sound like science fiction until you see what we've uncovered. Stay with us. What you're about to hear could change how you see the world and yourself forever. In recent months, a growing number of independent researchers, tech-savvy citizens, and even curious skeptics have made a startling discovery. Vaccinated individuals are emitting Bluetooth signals, complete with unique MAC addresses. Let that sink in. We're talking about bodies, living or dead, that are suddenly detectable by Bluetooth scanners. And in some cases, those MAC addresses are reportedly labelled with a single chilling identifier: vaccinated. Does that sound far-fetched? We thought so too, until the evidence started stacking up. Videos, testimonies, field tests conducted in remote areas, far away from any Wi-Fi or smart devices. And yet, Bluetooth scanning apps picked up signals when only certain people were present, people who received the shot. Now, if this is true, even partially, we are staring into the face of one of the most covert large-scale biometric tagging operations in human history. And here's the part they really don't want you to hear. You can test this yourself. So the question becomes, what are these signals for? Tracking? Data transfer? Remote activation? And more importantly, were these people microchipped without their knowledge? These aren't just fringe whispers anymore. Independent investigators, including former telecom engineers and medical examiners, are now reporting that corpses of individuals vaccinated after 2021 are emitting traceable radio frequency signals. Not hypothetically, not in theory, in real observable terms.
Look guys, gone in 2021.
Wait.
It's a wild guess why, but
Look.
we're running
binary codes.
binary codes here guys, off the thing.
Get away from me.
Look, 2022 guys. Binary codes up the ass right there. There's information coming out of the graves, guys.
In controlled lab environments, these signals are being picked up using standard RF detection equipment, the same kind used to test wireless interference and locate hidden surveillance devices. We're talking about measurable emissions coming from human remains, emissions that should not be there. And this brings us right back to the World Economic Forum. Last year, the People's Voice warned that the WEF, in collaboration with select academic institutions and corporate stakeholders, was laying the groundwork to transform human beings into components of the upcoming 6G infrastructure. Their own affiliated researchers at the University of Massachusetts and Delft University of Technology proposed a system in which the human bodies become a living antenna, a node in a global mesh of electromagnetic radiation. According to their published papers, they've already developed low-cost methods to harvest leaked radio frequency energy from visible light communication. Technology designed to be embedded in next-gen smart cities. And yes, the coming 6G networks. Their words, not ours. Bill Bathgate, a certified electrical engineer and environmental consultant, didn't mince his words. He called it, quote, one of the worst ideas ever. A plan to use the human body as a telecommunications point in some kind of network grid, with consequences that we're not even remotely prepared for, biologically, mentally, or spiritually. And now it looks like this isn't just theory anymore. Evidence is mounting that the plan has already been implemented, quietly without consent and without public debate. That the vaccinated have in fact been turned into components of this living grid. A human-powered energy network, a biological web designed to absorb and emit frequencies at will, not for your benefit, but for theirs. And the question the world needs to be asking now is, why? Why the sudden global obsession with full-spectrum wireless infrastructure? Why the relentless push for biometric ID, real-time surveillance, and population-wide injections tied to invisible tech? And most importantly, why are the corpses now whispering back through the static? Because if what we're hearing is true, the next phase isn't just about transmission, it's about activation. For context, this is graphene oxide's reaction to 5G radio waves. Graphene oxide is in every vaccine and ends up in your brain. Imagine what will happen when they turn the 5G on to full power and 64 GHz. Burn that footage into your mind, because what comes next is going to reframe everything you just saw. But first, a quick message from one of the few companies still willing to support real health in a world full of censorship. Remember the graphene oxide reacting to 5G in the Petri dish? That wasn't an isolated experiment, that was a warning. Researchers around the world, the ones who haven't been silenced or discredited, have shown how graphene oxide, a known component in some of these so-called vaccines, becomes highly reactive when exposed to electromagnetic fields, especially in the frequency ranges associated with 5G. We're talking about a substance that behaves like a conductor, a receiver, a possible interference between biology and technology. Now, imagine that inside your bloodstream. Imagine it forming networks, assembling into structures, responding to signals not from your brain, but from the grid. Suddenly, the Bluetooth emissions, the MAC addresses, the strange biosignals being picked up from vaccinated individuals, it all starts making sense. We're not dealing with a vaccine, we're dealing with an upgrade, an involuntary one. And the final phase? It may not involve consent, it may not even involve awareness. All it takes is a signal, a frequency, a push of a button.
The Fifth Column recently published their findings and conclusions on the strange, self-assembling nanotech they discovered in the Pfizer mRNA vaccines via optical microscopy analysis. The objects they found in the vaccine correspond with known items in the scientific record, and the conclusion they come to seems quite clear, that the well-documented scientific goal to use nanotechnology in living human beings to form networks capable of controlling several nanomachines is currently being deployed in the COVID-19 vaccines, which amounts to the most intrusive assault against humanity in all of recorded history. While the media and government lie and cover for Big Pharma, the official ingredients are still unknown. But we have thousands of brilliant scientists worldwide studying these experimental vaccines. Some have died in highly suspicious ways, but most have been able to share their findings. And the work shows us that graphene oxide is a key component in all of this. There have been dozens of official documented studies on the use of graphene oxide related to how we see it being used here today. Among other things, as a power converter. Graphene, a one-atom-thick layer of hexagonally arranged carbon atoms, is the thinnest and strongest material known to man, and an outstanding conductor of heat and electricity. It can boost gigahertz frequencies into terahertz, which is exactly what these new nanotech machines need for power. In order to do this, the graphene first needs a frequency to power it, and the optimal frequency to externally power graphene is known to be 26 gigahertz, which is also the frequency put out by 5G. In this model, the graphene within the body is activated by microwave signals in the gigahertz range, which it then boosts into the terahertz range, which then powers the novel nanotech machinery to self-assemble within the human body. Once assembled, what do these nanotech machines do? The images, compared to the scientific literature, suggest that they are the foundation of an internal electronic system with an endless potential for biomanipulation of the human host. Nanorouters that emit MAC addresses, able to be registered via Bluetooth. Nano and plasma antennas to amplify signals. Nanorectennas acting as rectifier bridges from AC to DC current. Codecs and logic gates for encryption of communication. The raw material for all this self-assembly is also graphene oxide. And when we compare known side effects of graphene oxide to the side effects of the COVID-19 vaccines, we find them to be the same. Once graphene oxide is injected into the body, it acquires magnetic properties, predictably around the injection site, the heart, and the brain. Graphene is seen as a pathogen by our immune system and will often result in paralysis and stroke. Graphene is known to cause blood clots and heart conditions. Graphene oxide can generate small discharges, causing cardiac arrhythmia. There is so much going on with these experimental vaccines, and the evidence seems clear that there is a mass experiment going on, with certain batches marked more deadly than others, and with certain batches that contain a bold new technology akin to a man-made parasite intended to control the host human if it doesn't kill them first in the process.
This might sound nightmarish, but for those who've been paying attention, they're nothing more than Klaus Schwab's fourth industrial revolution being put into action. What was once dismissed as paranoia is now unfolding in plain sight. The systems are in place, the signals are active, and the line between human and machine is growing thinner by the day. This isn't about health, it's about control, identity, ownership. So question everything, protect your mind, guard your body, and never stop seeking the truth. Stay awake, stay aware, and above all, stay human. Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing the crimes of the elite and wake people up.